Ladies and gentlemen, the TSP is an incredible wealth building tool if you know how to use it. Keyword if. If you know what the best options are for you to use to grow your wealth, whether you are still working or in retirement, then you can do really well. If you don't, you can do really, really poorly. So that's what we're going to dive into today. If you're new to the channel, so good to have you. My name is Dallin Haas. I'm a financial planner who serves feds just like you every day, and I love it. So let's talk about it. Let's get my whiteboard out. I'm a whiteboard guy. If you're on the podcast, check out the YouTube video. There are some visuals, okay? Let's first talk about the core options you have. What things can you invest in the TSP? What are the options? So from there, we can show you what the good ones are and what the bad ones are. Let's talk about it. Really, there are three core options. Number one, you can invest in the core funds themselves. That's like the G fund, the F fund, the C fund, S, and I. Okay? There are 5 core funds. They each do little things differently. We'll talk about each one of them in just a second. But those are the core funds. Okay? Just know that they exist. And then there is, of course, the L funds. The L funds are simply the core funds mixed up in a mix for you, right? For example, there is an L fund for every 5-year increment moving out. So there is an L 2030, L 2035, L 2040, etc., all the way out to like 2070 or whatever it is, and more come up over time. And long story short, the idea with the L funds is that you pick the one closest to your retirement date, and it will automatically allocate between the 5 core funds, G, F, C, S, and I, based on when you're planning to retire. Which in theory is awesome, makes it really simple. In practice, it's not perfect. Now, it's pretty good. It's better than nothing. It's better than sitting in just something really conservative the entire time like the G fund, and that's what used to be default. But it's not perfect, which we'll talk about in just a second. But last but not least, I guess kind of least, okay, there is the mutual fund window. Now, what this is, if you've never heard of it, basically within the TSP, if this box is your TSP, right? Up in the corner, there's this trap door that if you go through that trap door, there are 1,000 other options, right? If you stay within the core TSP, you've got the L funds and these 5 options, and that's it. If you go out that trap door, there are thousands of other options if you really want to get crazy with it. Now, here's the deal. Let me just cut to the chase. Don't use the mutual fund window. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you want to put just a little bit of your money over there just to have some fun, instead of going to Vegas, you're going to do this, great. You can do that. But other than that, I don't recommend it simply because the fees over on the mutual fund window side are almost always significantly higher. So you would have to do much better than what you do in the core side to make up for all the fees, which just doesn't happen over time. You may get lucky a few times, but over time you're going to lose. And so I just don't recommend it. Okay, so don't use the mutual fund window. Really, we are talking about the L funds or the core funds themselves. Now, to understand how you should probably be investing in TSP, let's talk about what these core funds are really, really quickly. The G and F funds, those are the more conservative options. So those are things like bonds, where it's kind of like this, where they're not going to grow a bunch over time, but they're not going to be super volatile. Okay? They're very conservative. They're not going to do much over time either way, whether up or down. Okay? That's the G and F fund. The CS and I, on the other hand, are stocks. They're going to be a lot more volatile, right? A lot more up and down. Over time, at least over the last 100 years, have performed a lot better than bonds. They've grown a lot more over time. But in the short term, who knows what's going to happen? We just don't know. So, as a general rule, if you have lots of time between now and when you need the money, then you may want to have more of your money in the things that are going to get more growth over time, the CS and I. Investing in stocks, investing in companies that will do better over time. However, if you need money today, do you want money that you're going to pull out later today to be in something that's fluctuating a bunch today? No. If we need money soon, we probably want to focus on the safer investments. Okay? So long story short, if you are close or at the beginning or middle of your career, if it was me, I would focus here on the CS&I. I would focus on things that you're actually going to get some decent growth over time. To beat inflation, make sure you build wealth over time. That's where I'd focus. Middle of your career, beginning of your career, it's pretty straightforward. Just be fairly aggressive, okay? Now, as you approach retirement, the game changes, the strategy changes, and that most people want to have some more conservative money there. And the main reason being that, again, if you need money tomorrow, you want money that isn't going to be fluctuating like crazy tomorrow. So what we recommend is for people to put some of their money as they approach retirement, and then in retirement, of course, over to the G&F side. Now, what some people really get wrong going into retirement is they think most of their money or all their money should go onto this side, and that's simply not the case for most people. Most people should not do that, and this is why. Most people get nervous around retirement. They don't want to lose anything, right? So they move a lot over here. And it feels really good in the short term. Really good, right? The money's safe. It's locked up. I'm just not losing it. But you may win that battle. But if you move everything to, let's say, the G fund, where you're not going to lose money, you're going to lose the war. You may win the battle, the short-term battle, but you are guaranteed to lose the war. And let me explain why. Hopefully, your retirement is a long time. Hopefully, you can retire and enjoy a number of decades of retirement. That's the goal, right? And assuming that's going to be the case, your money, you want to see it grow over time. At least I hope, right? And if you have it all in things that really don't grow much, and then inflation takes a bite out of your money as well, your money after inflation just won't grow. It'll deplete your buying power over time. And if you're taking withdrawals, the principal, the money that you have there, doesn't last very long if you're taking withdrawals and not getting enough growth to actually keep up with inflation plus some. Okay? So we need a balance. It's all about finding a balance. Now, I've got other videos on coming up, trying to figure out what balance makes sense for you in retirement, so you can definitely go check those out. This video is more to just give you the overview of what options there are and see what best ones make sense for you. So let's talk about the L funds. Let's talk about the pros and cons. So the L fund, for a lot of people, is kind of the saving grace. They're like, look, I don't know anything about investing. I just want to stick it in the L2040 fund. I'm retired around 2040. I'm just going to stick it in there and let it ride, not worry about it. And again, it's a lot better than just sticking it in the G fund. This will do a lot better over time. However, it's still not perfect. And this is why. What we found for the average retiree, the L funds actually overshoot. They do too much, meaning as you approach the year that you're retiring, the year that the L fund's named after, it tends to get too conservative. It tends to overdo it. Again, most people don't, even in retirement, there's risk of being too conservative. And if you're too conservative, inflation's going to eat your lunch. And that's the problem that most people see with L funds if they just stick in that L fund for their entire career in retirement. So there's really two ways to fix it. Number one, you could pick an L fund that's further out, so you have more years of a little more aggressive, right? That's one option. Option two is you invest in the core funds themselves, like the CS&I, G, and F, and you pick exactly how you want to be invested. Now, if you're in an L fund right now and you don't know how much of that L fund is conservative versus aggressive, just Google it. If you stick L2040 into Google, the first hit is going to be a TSP website. And if you scroll down, you can see the percentages that's in the G fund and F fund. Again, those are the safer funds. And then the percentages in the CS&I. And so you can say, okay, based on what I'm invested in now, how much of my money is on the conservative side, how much is on the aggressive side. And from there, you can decide how much you want for you. So those are the core options you have in TSP. Those are the core things you want to think about. Again, don't do the mutual fund window. Pick either the core funds or an L fund that for most people is probably a little further out beyond your retirement date. Again, these are just general principles. I am a financial planner, but I'm not your financial planner. So take this with a grain of salt. Just education here, right? And I hope this is helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video.